Oh, a bit thirsty. Fancy bit of creek water, eh? That's not bad, that.
Danny, why did you drink the creek water, Danny?
Why, Danny, why?
You're gonna get very sick, Danny.
Very sick, Danny.
Danny, can you hear me?
Listen
You're
to
gonna
him.
get very, very sick, Danny.
Listen to him.
Danny. Danny, can you hear me?
Can you hear him, Danny?
So obviously in real life, you don't just get to respawn and carry on. Once you're down, you're down. So if you're going to be drinking water from a wild source, it pays to know what you're doing to make sure that the water is going to be safe for you to drink. Now, having said that, I'm no expert, so don't take my word for it. This is just a two-step process that I do to clean my water, so filtering it, and then also making it safe to drink through sterilising it. There's a lot of very unique and interesting looking ways on YouTube, and I certainly go down the rabbit hole at 2 o'clock in the morning watching these, such as the creek bed, making a well, digging one out next to the creek bed and allowing that groundwater to seep through, and then flushing it out a couple of times until it comes out clean. There's always the water bottle that you fill up with the sand and charcoal and grass and pebbles and whatnot to filter it out. Even a glass of water sitting in the sun. I think Clay Hayes had put that up, and he did some lab results before and after to see the changes in E. coli. And I can't remember if it was meaningful or insignificant, the changes. So go and watch that video by Clay Hayes. So lots of different ways that people are cleaning their water and putting it on YouTube, and they're great to watch, and they're really, really handy things to know and to learn, whether you're going to use them in survival or even just to know because it's cool, it's interesting. But I really like things that are very practical, very day-to-day. Sometimes you don't get the opportunity to boil water. Sometimes you don't get the opportunity to make a fire. Sometimes they'll lay it in a dift in a rock, and I'll put water in there, and they'll go make a fire somewhere. They'll heat up some rocks, and they'll put those rocks in the water to boil it. It's quite impractical in day-to-day. So I've just got a very simple two-step process that I use. Step one is to filter the water, and then we're going to sterilize it. I'm just going to make some yucky water. Pretty gross. Now all you're going to need for the filtering process is a bottle. You don't actually need a bottle, it just makes it much easier. If you don't have a bottle, you can dig a hole in the ground. And the only other thing you're going to need, you're probably already wearing, an old t-shirt or a shirt. In my case, I've just got a bit of cotton cloth or gauze cloth that we're going to use today. If you're going out bush, you should probably have a knife, but today we're just going to go with scissors. And you're just going to cut nice and high up the top. You'll notice with most plastic bottles, they've got little lines on them as well, so very easy to follow. Boom. And I think you know what I'm going to do next. Just like if you're making like a little tadpole or minnow trap, this goes in this. Now, locks in place like that. Later, all you do is you grab your cloth and you put it in here. It doesn't need to be neat. It can be as unneat as you like. You kind of want to multi-layer it, almost like scrunching. So if you're a folder in the toilet, you're going to become a scruncher for water filtering. Once you're happy with it, all you're going to do is you're going to take your water and you're going to pour it in this. And what's going to happen is it's going to work its way through the fabric and then come down into the bottle, and hopefully it's going to be a bit cleaner than before. So in a moment I'll hold the bottle up to the camera so you can see it before, and then we'll see it after. Now, one thing to note though is don't pour it all straight in, because what's going to happen with the fibre is they're going to go like this, and then stuff is going to seep through all of these little cracks. The idea is that we want to do it slowly so it doesn't put too much pressure on the fibre, but also gives it a chance to soak up the water, because using cotton is really good because it's a plant fibre, so it's by nature trying to absorb moisture anyway, right? Before, bloody hope this works. Spread it around nice and even. There's still a bit of muck in the bottom. So all the main dirt is out of that now. You can then bring it out and get more of the water. We'll get rid of this yucky bit. Now that's what you're left with. Now it's not see-through, but what you would do is you would clean your cloth. I should have brought a third bottle, but I don't want to put it back in this because it's only going to make it dirtier, isn't it? Yeah. So we're going to leave it like that. Now that is the filtering process, but you see all this colour in here is potentially going to be little microscopic bits of bacteria and pathogens. So there's one way to get rid of that is super easy and doesn't require a solar panel or a fire or anything like that. Quite simply, you grab an aqua tab, tiny little doodad, and you leave it in there for 30 minutes. You can drink that water. Now I'm a big fan of avoiding excess chemicals wherever possible, but I think when it comes to water and you're in an actual survival situation, I prefer something that is practical and that is easy to use and has a really high success rate. It's the same deal as a fire. So if you're out in the bush, you should always have a lighter on you no matter what, because if the lighter gets wet, okay, great, you should know how to use a flint striker. If your flint striker breaks, great, you should know how to use a bow drill. But the first thing you should be doing is using a lighter. So same principle here. If you're in an actual survival situation, you may as well use the aqua tap.